Hello, StarSeeds, and welcome to Starseed Living. My name is Lorrayne. So I'm coming to you from outside today because it is a beautiful day, although really windy. We're supposed to have gusts up to about 55 miles an hour here in the mountains. And the energies have shifted dramatically. I know I haven't been on for a week now. With all of the changes and shifts and dramatic energies happening, I really just needed to process. And what I find really interesting is that all of us channelers, all of us intuitives, all of us light workers are getting pieces of the puzzle. And the interesting thing is that they don't all match up. And here is my understanding of that. We, all of us, no matter how purely connected to our higher selves, to our source, to the divine, to our creator, to the universe, we all have perceptions, beliefs, thoughts that can filter and alter what we see, feel, know. And it doesn't mean that what we're getting is inaccurate. It just means that it may not be the full depth, breadth, and width of the information because it has been altered by this 3D, 4D reality. So when you are gathering information, when you're seeking out information from the external, it's really important to take it within your heart space, into meditation or quiet time, and see if it resonates for you. Does the information resonate with your heart? Does it make sense to you as a sovereign being? And then from that point, make a discernment, an observation, a settled sort of perspective. What I find is that we have been bombarded. Nothing, this is basically my motto anymore. Nothing that I believe to be true or correct is in fact true and correct in the broad perspective. Yes, I do know. So it's the difference between beliefs and knowingnesses. I know that I am divinely connected to Source. I know that I am a sovereign being. I absolutely know that we are all one and that we are moving into the new golden age. Whatever that may look like, I have my ideas, but we are moving into this divine space. But in order to do that with the most ease, with the most joy, we need to clear the beliefs, those things that are blocking us and keeping us separate from our divine source. So this is what I've been doing this last week. We had the beautiful supermoon in Taurus on the 26th in the US and the 27th in most of the rest of the world. And I have to tell you that the frequencies in this space, in this realm, in this dimension, wherever it is that we are, have dramatically shifted. They've become lighter, more joy-filled. And there's a couple of things that I've been doing to enhance that and accelerate that, because I'm all about acceleration. Many of us are already living within the 5D template. Probably most of you watching this are, whether you are aware of it or not. But we're still being affected by the greater collective. Remember, we are all connected. We are all one consciousness expressing itself in many forms. So if you look out in the world and you take what you see as absolute truth, then you are going to have a very difficult time moving forward. Not because anything is being imposed on you, but because your own belief systems, your own understanding is blocking you. It's like in the law of attraction, they say, if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, the rest of your day is going to be pretty not nice because of the perspective that you are viewing the external. So there's a couple of things you can do. Really trying to live from your internal space as much as possible, although we are all still having to interact within this 3D, 4D reality. We all are still straddling that, cat just attacked my pyramid. We're still straddling all of that perception, that illusion, that matrix. So if we move into the space of our divine sovereignness, our inner knowing, and view the world from that space, from the inside out instead of the outside in, then our progress forward will be so much easier. So I was watching, there's a couple of people that I watch pretty regularly if they post. And I was watching, and many of them have been deplatformed, I guess is the term, from this platform and have gone to other alternative platforms. Because the more that the revealing of the illusion of this space, it's like we're on a holodeck on Star Trek. I think I've mentioned this before. We're all living out a reality that honestly may or may not be true. And it's looking like the majority of it is not. So I was watching Mark Atwood, and he had with him, it was sort of a spur of the moment, JCK from Australia and Joanne, I think it's Dunn from Scotland. Delightful people. And the reason that I choose certain channels over other channels to watch is because it resonates with my heart space. It's not because anyone has told me. I honestly don't. Really, I don't listen to anybody anymore with, I don't think anybody is 100% accurate anymore. I question everything, but if the person I'm watching, and I'm a pretty darn good judge of energy and people, I've been channeling and intuitively being guided my entire life. So I was watching this spur of the moment interaction that they had. And Joanne brought forward this declaration of sovereignty. And I have to tell you, I've been doing it. So they did it on, if you're looking for the date, so it's Mark Atwood show, or Mark Atwood Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. And it was on the 27th, I believe, on the full moon. So they did this declaration of sovereignty online, and I want to do that with you today because I think it's really powerful. And you can alter the words, and I do actually alter the words, and I'm actually going to shorten it and alter it a little bit just for the flow of what feels right for me. But so I do it a couple of ways. Ugh. Can't move the pyramid. Ah! Things are flying around. All right. Sorry about that. So I actually I sit in the middle of my garden. Wow, the wind is blowing the computer. I sit in the middle of my garden with this, with rose quartz all around me, and I state the declaration and the power that is resonating off. And I state the declaration. Initially, I did it for myself. Then I did it for the land and the space that I'm in. And now I do it twice a day on behalf of humanity in the entire world. And wow, the power of this repeating of the declaration to clear the remaining AI energy that has been imposed. Now, any of the lower 4D impositions, organic impositions, have all been removed out of this 3D, 4D reality. What is left is the residue, the well, I can't think of the word, but slime that has been left. And a lot of it is artificial intelligence programming. So the programming has been left, and we are still feeding into the program. So what happens is it's a do loop. We get through frequency manipulation, thought forms imposed on us through the AI network of programming, through the frequency. And remember, we are giant crystal frequency receivers, senders. And so they've attuned it so that they can artificially manipulate us as a collective. Now, there are those of us that, yes, and most of them StarSeeds, have extracted themselves from this artificial frequency bombardment. However, the remaining residue from this programming is still out there in the greater field, and people are still picking up on it. So the do loop is that humanity, picks up on the belief system, the frequency, the information, and then they recreate it in their mind and project it back out. So it's this circular sort of do loop of projected reality. Because we're powerful. We are the creators of our reality. And if we're manipulated into seeing something, we then see that over and over again. That's what's happened here. But we're breaking free, and we StarSeeds are leading the way. It takes only a few of us to see the truth. Now, remember, I said nothing that I see, I believe anymore. It's what I believe is what I know. And I know it from my internal, nothing from the external. And we have to keep reminding ourselves, because the external programming is so strong and the collective is so powerful that keeps recreating this illusory world, and it's easy to faceplant right into it. So you just have to pull yourself back. And that's why doing this declaration of sovereignty morning and night is powerful, because it separates you from the mind control. It absolutely severs you. And the more you do it, and the more you do it on behalf of yourself, then, the world, the more we're helping to separate and to show a new possibility to all those that are asleep. So let's get to it. Let's do this declaration of sovereignty. Now I'm going to read it as it was originally read. I'm going to read it, and if you want, I'll pause and you can follow along with me. I'll put it down in the description below in verbatim. I encourage you to copy it, and then you can change it any way that feels right to you. But I encourage you to experiment with this, to see how it works for you and to see what you notice in the greater reality. So let's, I'm going to bring in my angel clearing tuning fork. It's so beautiful. These are from Soma Energetics. I'll leave a link down below for these as well. These were introduced on Mark Atwood's show too, and I'm grateful for that. I know I had seen them years and years ago, but they didn't resonate. But I have to tell you, in these times, to be able to clear your space with this beautiful, angelic, pure frequency, golden. I have my, Eudolite and my obsidian. And I'm going to have them right here on the computer because it just feels right. I got my pyramid next to me. I did want you to notice I also have this rose quartz that I was striking the tuning fork on. All right. Hopefully the wind isn't too bad. I'm going to move the microphone a little bit closer. Hopefully this keeps it pretty darn pure and clean. Hopefully my phone doesn't run out of power because it looks like it's getting low. All right. So take a moment and center in your heart space and really get to that point of absolute pure sovereignty, your personal power, your heart space, so that you are declaring this with power and intent. Remember, your intention is the greatest power you have. All right. So this is the declaration of sovereignty. Let's begin. I release and decree. I release all remaining resistance. I release all fear still stuck in my body, cells, blood, bones. I release all unforgiveness. I release all resentment. I release all guilt, all shame, all blame. I release all victim energy. I release all persecutor energy, all judgment, all criticism. I release all preconceived ideas. I release all jealousy, all hate, all anger, all grief, pain, and suffering. I release all frustration. I release all manipulation. I release the need to control. I release those that want to control me. I release spite. I release all feelings that I am not good enough or I am better than another. I release all remaining implants, devices, entities, attachments, cords, ties, vows, pacts, contracts, agreements, all and everything that binds me to the old. All that doesn't serve my highest good any longer. I release all remaining feelings of separation from self, from others, from my higher self, from my soul, from my oversoul, my monad, and from source. I release all remaining resistance to change. I release all suspicion. I release all arrogance. I release my negative ego. I release my lower nature. I release all blocks, barriers, chains that prevent me from moving forward. I release all that blocks me from loving myself and others more deeply and receiving love into my life. I release all outdated thinking, all belief systems, templates, programs, behavioral and thought patterns that keep me experiencing old timelines and old experiences. I overwrite and override all lesser DNA, all lesser codes and strands within every cell, atom, atomic and subatomic particle and wave and all the spaces in between, down through my mitochondria, across all time and space, all dimensions, all realities, all universes. I release all and everyone that is not in alignment with my highest good and original, divine, true, human source blueprint. I release all feelings of hopelessness, despair, depression, low self-worth, and heaviness. I release all self-denial, all delusions, all illusions, all false hopes. I release all blocks around my heart and mind. I release all density, all distortions, all mind control, all and everything trying to keep me down and hold me back. I release all interference. I remove all and everything that is standing in my way from becoming the highest version of myself. I release all lower thought forms trying to discourage me and hold me back. I release all that is not love, not compassion, not understanding, not forgiveness, not oneness. I am releasing all feelings of doubt, disbelief, and confusion. I release every thought, feeling, and belief that I am not good or strong enough to make it as I am. I release all feelings and thoughts making me believe I am not worthy of a happy, peaceful, fulfilled, joyful, balanced, abundant, and love-filled life. I release all programming telling me I cannot have it all. I release all worry, all tension, all anxiety. I release my old self, my lower matrix self. All of me which I've come to love and accept and welcome home, I can now let go of all that is no longer in alignment with who I am now. I integrate all of me now. I release all that I am not now. I make space for my true self to emerge once again. My inner Christ, my true divine human, my source self, resurrected and reborn. Like the phoenix from the ashes, I rise like never before. As a new dawn breaks, I have arrived home at last. I have arrived as the true, authentic me, at home in my heart, pure source love, divine love, as one, nothing else required. I am source. I am sovereign. I am free. Take a deep breath and let that reverberate through your entire beingness. Together in this divine play that we are all acting out on this magnificent stage, we will come to that new golden age. But before we get there, we have to wipe the programming. We have to clear this space because we have been so programmed for millennia that it's going to take essentially an entire mind wipe. This is the beginning of that, purging that which no longer serves who you are and who you are becoming. It's time to realize that where we are going is so much better than what we believe we have here. It's time to release and let go. None of this matters except the fellow travelers on the journey with you. That's all that matters. And we are all one. And we are all free. Until next time, my name is Lorrayne, and this is StarSeed Living.